All right, welcome everybody to this video. In this video, we are going to go over how to do Zapier integrations with FlipPilot, most specifically with Lead Sherpa. With Lead Sherpa, this is would be the correct process for other texting platforms as well. But just because I just happen to have to integrate it to Sherpa, so I thought I'd make this video showing you how. It's pretty much the same process for most integrations, but stay tuned. We will have more videos on how to integrate through Zapier your FlipPilot to, let's say, a Facebook ad, a Facebook lead form ad, or some other channels as well. We already have it. If you're trying to find out about CallRail, that'll be another video. CallRail integrates directly into FlipPilot. But if you need to use Zapier or create a Zap at any point with FlipPilot, this is pretty much majority of the same process every time, but this one just happens to be with Lead Sherpa. So I'll just go ahead and get started, and I'll kind of just go and walk you through step by step how I do it and how it'll work for everybody else. So go to your Zap or Zapier account, go ahead and create a Zap. This one's going to be, and I just did Idaho, so we're going to do Utah. What you have to do is, because Lead Sherpa doesn't have their own actual Zap in Zapier yet, you have to use an app called Webhook. If you're using a form or a software tool, whether it's a texting platform, and they don't have their own app inside Zapier, then you have to use a Webhook form. And it's very easy. It's not technical at all. As you can see here, like these are what is like an app. So like CallRail has an app inside Zapier. These are a few other, Google Sheets and Google Drive. They have this is like a payment process we use. You can see here's like some other popular ones like Squarespace. It's a website. MailChimp's the email provider. So you kind of get the gist of it. Most bigger brands who have a lot of users will kind of make their own app, so it's a little bit quicker, but still, along with Webhook, it's still easy as is. So you can see here, Webhook, is a popular one. You do need a premium account to use it. So go ahead and click on Webhook, and then this step right here, it says choose app and event. So choose app, obviously it's Webhooks by Zapier, and then trigger event. For this, when you click on it, you get 3 options. You're going to click on catch a hook. That's the one you're going to use. Hit continue. And then at this step, it's going to automatically give you a custom webhook URL, and I'll show you where we put that in a second. So we're going to go back to Lead Sherpa, and you'll need to go to account settings. As you can see, our account settings, scroll down until you hit this point where it says Zapier webhooks. You'll click on the button that says add webhook. And then we'll give it a name. Let's see here. It's going to be, I like to put the location of where it's going. So obviously Sherpa is the first point, FlipPilot is going to be the end point. So I like to put the end point of it, because if you are a Sherpa user out there, or whether you're using Launch Control or Roar or any other texting platforms, I always like to, in the description, put where this app is leading to, so that when you're inside your campaigns and you need to make sure you're all these are going to the right Zap webhook. That way you have it titled correctly, so that it's going to the right CRM or endpoint if you have multiple like me. So we'll go FlipPilot, and right where it says right here, this spot where it says URL, it's a blank space. This is where we're going to put your custom webhook URL. You can just hit the copy. It's copied. Go over here, hit paste, and then go to add webhook, and then hit OK. And the Sherpa is a little bit slow, so just got to give it a little bit of time. Before I move on to the next step, I always just like to make sure that this is fully loaded and done, so that way it's recognized inside of Zapier. Come on, Sherpa. All right, let's see if he'll do it. Then when you come back to Zapier, all you have to do is hit continue, and then you're going to hit test and review. All right, there we go. It pulled the information. So when you do that, it will automatically pull, or it does a hook. Because remember from back from the event, we said we wanted to have a hook. And so what this does is inside, Sherpa, they always have like a dummy data. Most all platforms kind of do that. So what it does is it will just pull some dummy data. So as you can see right here, lead full name, John Doe, first name, John, last name, Doe, email, campaign, test campaign, phone number, 123 Main Street. As you can see here, it's dummy data. So once you have the dummy data pretty much pulled, sitting right here, then you know that it worked, and what the Zapped worked over here, or the webhook was created over here. So we can move on to the next step. So hit done editing. Then we're going to go to this step number 2, which is do this. FlipPilot does not, because they don't have their own app inside Zapier yet. So we're going to use webhooks again. And then this time for choose action events, we're going to do post. So we'll hit that second one, post, hit continue. And then this time we're going to go over to FlipPilot. And then over here in FlipPilot, you'll want to go to the top and hit webhooks. Go to the webhooks page. As you can see here, I kind of have one made, but we're going to go ahead and make another one because this is for a different market. So I'm going to go Sherpa. Now in FlipPilot, I want to put where the webhook is coming from. So I'm going to put Sherpa, and then obviously the market that the lead will be from. So that way I know how to set up the correct sequences, follow-up sequences. I can have the correct acquisition manager or lead manager handle. They know which leads are theirs. And then also by having this and then picking the campaign, it'll help me have better KPIs, which means I know how many leads are coming to which campaign from. That way I can track my costs. So I know my cost per lead, cost per acquisition, and the right team members are handling the right leads. We'll go ahead and create. Once you do that, this will pop up right here. As you see right here, there will be a URL link right here. And it'll say inactive at the moment. So go ahead and click on these squares right there. I'll just copy the URL. We're going to go back to Zapier, right where it says customize post URL. This is where we're going to post it. And literally that is it. There's all these other boxes. Leave them blank. We don't need to fill anything in there. And we just got to go and press continue. And then you're going to scroll down and you're just going to hit test and review. And then what we're going to do is you can tell when it's tested because it'll say test campaign name right here. Before this was blank, there was nothing there. And we can see submitted on 12:30 at 10:33 a.m. Text from. So what I like to do, just to make sure, because there are a couple more steps of matching the data, I like to just hit it 2 more times. I want to do 3 tests just to kind of confirm. It's kind of like a triple check. I want to come back and make sure that, all right, cool, all 3 went through, as we can see here. Then the next step is to come in. We're going to go ahead. Yep. We're going to go ahead and then you're going to hit the button, Manage Webhook. We're going to come in here. And when you're inside here, important thing to start, because we have to map the fields, is there's going to be 2 little buttons right here. One says multi-form, one says active status. We're going to click on both of those so that they're both showing blue. We're going to come over here where it says recent submissions. And as you can see, there are 3 campaigns with 3 check boxes next to them. Hit the one at the very top so it checks all of them. And then we're going to map our fields. So campaign name, we can leave that one blank. Custom field, we can actually, for custom field, if you scroll down, actually no, custom field, you leave that one blank. Lead email address, click on that, and then there'll be a field that says contact email address. Put that one there. Right here, we got lead first name. We'll put that as contact first name. Lead full name, you can leave that blank. We don't need to pull a full name because we're going to separate the first and last name. So we got lead last name, hit that there. Lead stage, you can leave that one blank. Mailing city, now because with Sherpa, it will pull over the mailing address and also the property address or the contact address. So it'll be a little bit different here, but I'll show you in a second. So mailing city, scroll down. And for mailing city with FlipPilot, because as you can see here, it goes contact and then property. There's no mailing. So the mailing will be the contact info. So that's the mailing city. So we're going to put contact city. Mailing phone, we'll put contact phone number 1. Mailing state, we'll put contact state. Mailing street, go over here to contact street address. Mailing zip code, contact postcode. Notes we can leave there. Property address, one line, you can kind of leave that blank. Then we go to property city. And as we scroll down, we then have property city. Property phone, I like to put that as phone number 2. Usually Sherpa will only pull over one phone number, but just in case there happens to be 2. But I just do that just in case. Then property state, go down, put property state. Property street address, got property street address. Then property zip code. And then we got prospect link, which you can leave blank. And then we got Sherpa conversation link. Now, if you're a Sherpa user, if you have this link, it's the same for other texting platforms as well, just a little bit different. Sherpa will actually have a link that opens up in a new tab in your browser, which shows you the entire text conversation. So what's cool is because it is a URL link, you're able to map that over. Now, FlipPilot doesn't have their own custom, Sherpa conversation link because they're not really made for it. So I just like to put it over here and scroll all the way down to this box. It's called lead info -search terms. I just like to put the conversational link in that field just because in the contact card, it's a field that we don't really use. Sherpa phone number, you can leave that blank. And then almost forgot one more thing. Up here at the very top, it will not allow you to save and exit until you put a unifier field. That'll be this drop down button right here. Click on that. And I always just put campaign name. It really doesn't matter, but I just put campaign name. And once that's done, hit save and exit. And once you save and exit, it's good to go when it goes from inactive to active right here. So then what I like to do is go back to Zapier. I like to hit the blue button, retest and continue. Boom. Our Zap is ready. Turn Zap on. Then I'm going to go back. And then I'm going to go back to my pipeline, make sure that the lead came through, in which it did, as we can see right here, because the dummy data said 123 Main Street, Denver, Colorado, John Doe. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And the one thing I want to make sure is if you're a FlipPilot user, come over here in the top left because you have your campaign. I just want to make sure that is putting it in the right campaign that I have from Sherpa because I created FlipPilot from Utah, and that it is labeling that this lead came from the Utah text campaign. That way my KPIs are going to be aligned. It's going to tell me how many leads came from the Utah campaign, how many leads, cost per lead, how many of those leads converted, and that whichever acquisition manager I have managing Utah, he knows which leads are his, and he can only work on his. So I just want to double check all the data fields so we can see here address, street address is there, city, state, postcode, first and last name, phone, other phone, email, property, contact address. And if you scroll all the way to the bottom right here, search terms, and this is where the conversation link will show up. So that way, when an actual lead comes in from Sherpa, I can click on this and it'll show me in a new tab the entire text conversation. So when my acquisition manager gets the lead after the VA is doing the conversation, he can just look at the conversation and kind of jump on in and pretend it was actually him the entire time texting the homeowner. So that is it, how you do Zapier connection from Sherpa to FlipPilot. It's essentially the same process if you're using other texting platforms or just other lead gen type of resources out there, like whether it's Google Ads, Facebook ads, you're just going to be using a different app in the beginning. So hopefully that was informative. If you guys have any questions, let us know, and talk to you soon.